It's great to be, where are we in Barcelona, Spain. Yeah, it's great to be here, you know.
I feel super privileged to be doing this lecture. I'm sure we all feel privileged to be in the room today because we simply have the most famous drum and bass of all time. Please join me in welcoming Sly and Robbie. So I believe it's right to say that since you started working together in '75 that you've played on over 50,000 records, is that correct? Something like that.
Some say 200,000, some say million. But over it reached 2 million. Probably 3.
Well, I did read one estimate that said that if you count every use of every rhythm that you've ever played on, then it's not unfeasible to think that it would be over 200,000 records, which officially makes you the most prolific recording artist of all time.
Wow,
so I think that's a round of applause as well.
Yeah, turn the world, turn the world.
So, I mean, we're all music fans in this room. I think it's fair to say that everyone in this room probably has a record with you on it, even if they don't know it. So for some of the people that aren't familiar with the amazing list of musicians you played with both in Jamaica and internationally, could you run down just a few names?
Okay, there's a few names. Starting from Jamaica side, we probably work with everyone. Bob Marley, Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaac, Mighty Diamonds, Toots and the Maytals, Jimmy Cliff, Peter Tosh, Bonnie Wailers, Number Robinson, Woody, Peter, everybody, and that's to name a few. Some of them are kind of culture. Could go on and on and on and on. And on the international market, we have done work with James Brown, Carly Simon, Nona Hendrix, No Doubt, Joe Cocker, Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones, Herbie Hancock, Grace Jones, Gwen Guthrie, Ian Drury. I said Nick Hucknall, Simple Red. Simple Red, Serge Gainsbourg.
Wow. From
Germany. From Brazil, we did a song for which went to #1 with Ben Harper singing on it. It's hard to remember. Probably when I finish, I go outside and try to remember some other stuff, other names, and bring it up.
Well, that's just a rough idea of all the ground that we've got to cover in the next 90 minutes or so. But one question I often wonder with you guys is, like, in 1975, you were already such established musicians in your own right doing session work, and what was it that made you gravitate towards each other and decide to collaborate?
It's just like magic, I would say, because when we were kids in Jamaica, we used to go down to a place they call Igler's Rest, which is downtown, and all musicians has to come there. Everybody knows you. This is where we would go to look for session work, and we used to see Robbie there sometime, and we talked, but we were playing in a club on Riddles Road. It's the Kingston, we call it Las Vegas. And Robbie was playing at this club beside the club I was playing at, so when I get break, I go and listen to his band, and when he get break, he would come over and listen to my band. So there was a lot of songs he was playing on for Bunny Lee, was playing at Aggravators. And I would just ask him if some of these bass line, if he was playing them, because we used to play some of these songs on the bandstand we were playing at in the club, and he said yes. And we started talking, and I remember one day we was down by Agler's Rest, and I asked him to drop me by Channel 1 because I think there was a session, and he dropped me there, and I told him to check me back the next day because there might be some other session, because we used to control the session, so he came and checked me. But the first session we really played on was the session that Robbie and Bunny Lee organized together. And he called me to play, and we played. I think it was a John Old song called, forgot to say I love you till I'm gone. So I think it was a John Old session. Yeah, but they play a lot of songs, but that was the first song I came on.
But you mentioned Channel 1 and the aggravators, and can you explain for people that aren't familiar with Channel 1 what that is at that time?
Channel 1 is a recording studio, and I think it's one of the best recording studios in Jamaica. And this is where Robbie myself really got this great break in life, because the owner for Channel 1, they love bass and drums, and they take great pleasure in presenting it right. And we used to be there all the time, recording. Before they got the sound, we sort of brought the sound to them, and it took us 2 years before we could really get it the way we wanted it. So for us, that's like, what do you call it? Our template that brought us to the international world quietly,
And can you explain the scene of the big backing bands like the Aggravators and the Revolutionaries,
Okay.
and how you get involved?
I'm
as a
going to let
musician?
Robbie speak on the aggravators. Robbie at the control.
Well, Aggravators now was like a shooter backing band. The name was a Bonnie given name, and Aggravators was like Santa on drums, China guitar, and Bernard Tota Harvey keyboard, or Tyrone Downey, depending on any musician. But the main musician was Santa, myself, and China.
And what kind of period are we talking?
Some of the Slim Smith, Delroy Wilson, was
Colonel Campbell. Johnny Clark.
Derek Mark, and Johnny Clark.
So this is like early 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause even Johnny Clark, I was the one they used to like shun him from the studio. And I was the one say, give him a chance. I used to be there like every day begging like, please, I can't sing, come in. And I said, move, Shooter Eigler. 'Cause they used to call him Shooter Eigler before call him by him right name, Johnny Clark. And I said, no, give the youth a chance. I could hear what him sing. And I said to him, hey, anyhow you let me down, me I run you up myself. And I went in the studio, and the first song came out, and I said, whoa, this youth can sing, So I started guiding him through his career as a tailor.
So you're kind of responsible for putting him on the map.
Yeah, a little bit.
And were you involved in a backing band as well before you?
Yeah, I was involved in the Revolutionaries.
Right.
And what happened, we had a little studio in Waterhouse that a friend of mine had a sound system, and we used to go there and listen to all these foreign songs. And we sat there and said, if we could get this drum sound in reggae, we'll be off with something. So went on to Channel 1 studio. I met Ernest, and we're talking about drum sound, and he said, okay, and I was playing some Philadelphia records because that's one of my favorite labels, Philadelphia International. And I said, if we could get this drum sound, something like this reggae, it would work. So for 2 years it took us to try and get it close and start recording and things like that. And we played on a song like MPLA, Roof Over My Head for the Mighty Diamonds, Roof Over My Head for the Mighty Diamonds, and a couple of other songs. Some of them I can't remember, so many songs. And the sound break out, and everybody was trying to get the Channel 1 because they liked the sound. So we did stay there for a while until the studio got closed down from that era, and we had to take up places out of the studio and start recording. And we started doing our own production by Channel 1 also.
I mean, it's often documented the rivalry between the labels. Was there some sort of rivalry between the bands as well?
No, no, not really, no. All musicians to get Jamaica always live loving. We always look out for one another. Although the labels were fighting, musicians were not fighting.
And Robbie, how did you first hear Sly's drumming?
Well, Sly used to play in Skin, Flesh and Bone, Tit for Tat. And during that time, I used to be doing recording. That was the main source of getting little bread. But at night, you used to like playing a band name. I think the name of it was Big Relation. And there was a club beside where Sly Club was on Redlands Road named Evil People. Used to be resident by Fab Five. And somehow Fab Five and the owner for that club, they had a falling out, so they called the owner for the band I was playing in to fill that spot. And while there, Tota, which now played in Inner Circle, he was the one said, let's go over tit for tat, go check Sly. I said, who name Sly? He said, Sly is a drummer. I said, all right, come on. I go over there and say, Sly, sit down on the drum. And I beat it wicked. I said, whoa, it's a drum for sound, you know. I want a session with that youth, tomorrow. So just check Bonnie Lee. I think that the next morning, Aggravators style and says, Striker, find a wicked drummer, want to use him for some session. And I say, all right, book the time. And call Sly and it start from this. So I just start playing, everybody jump up, whoa, yeah, wicked. And the studio was like, Pac. And them say, yeah, that combination are wicked. And just start from there, so.
And you both knew the first time you played together?
Yeah. And we have Peter Tosh. I was putting together a band for Peter Tosh, Word, Sound and Power. And I said, Sly, come in. I say, yeah.
And you toured with Peter Tosh quite heavily, right, together?
Yeah, we started touring with him. I said, we were the band, you know. Peter was Word. And me and Sly, Sound and Power. So the chair was make it Word, Sound and Power.
And before you got involved in the Aggravators, did you have like a mentor when you were coming up as a musician, someone that you studied bass?
Yeah, but Word, Aggravators wasn't like the first shooter thing we deal with, you know. But just because extensively, you know, Aggravators was always in the shooter, but we played like for like Joe Gibbs, you know, the regular record people, Scratch, Perry and everything, you know. We were sometimes individual, we play for other people. You know, and Family Man was the main man for me, who was the first start play bass and it sounded nice. And say, yeah, you have to teach me to play that.
Which band was he from?
Family Man, well, now playing with Wailers, and was Bob Marley bass player for years. But at the time he was playing with hippie boys, rehearsing, you know. You don't know about Family Man? Mm-hmm. You know, right? Mm-hmm. You know, saying bad, don't you?
And what about you, Sly? Was there a particular mentor for you, drum-wise?
Yeah, my mentor growing up was, he's still the drummer for the Scatterlights. I don't know if anybody knows him, Lloyd Lives. And I used to listen to a lot of stuff from Booker T and the MG's drummer, Al Jackson, early on from Philadelphia International Record. And I just used to, you know, and there's other drummers in Jamaica like Santa, Carly from the Wailers, and Winston Granham, Paul Douglas, Santa, Mikey Boo, that I respect a lot, and I've learned so much from all these drummers, you know. So from them, I listen and I create my own style. I mean, that plays something very great things, and I copy some of the stuff that they did, put other stuff to it and recreate it, you know. Yeah.
And who gave you your nickname?
Oh. Well, the nickname came from, I was in a band called Volcanoes, and we were playing in Jamaica, the North Coast, and we were there like for 3 months playing at the hotel. And I used to listen to a lot of Sly and the Family Stone, which I still do, and the band leader looked at me and said, every day is a Sly, nothing else. I said, no, Sly the boss. I'm saying, no, we'll call it Sly, you know. So everything I do is say, Sly, come here. Came back to town and Sly. Everybody just got stuck on me. I said, all right, I'm Sly.
So apart from Sly Stone, what were the biggest influences outside of Jamaica that you were listening to?
I would listen to a lot of stuff from Motown Records, a lot of stuff from Stax. We listened to a lot of James Brown, a lot of the Beatles stuff. You know, that's what we used to listen to in Jamaica. And yeah, that's what my stuff really, yeah.
There seems to be a tradition as well of covering US R&B songs in Jamaica as well, and you did quite a few of those as well.
Yeah, there's some great R&B songs, and you know, Jamaica is a place that really loves great music. So if we think we could do a good cover version of a song, we just go for it, you know, and we do it. Like for example, something like Baltimore, Go Away Dreams and these songs. And even not for us only, but other producers used to cover a lot of songs, which they think they could do a good version of, you know.
And how did your style change when you became producers yourselves?
Well, the reason why I become producer, like, you know, where they're playing all these recording for other producers and they were hitting, and then we start look down in the future and say, well, what is there for us? Because we're not owning ourselves on tape. Other producers have a sound. And I said to Robbie, I think we should try to start owning some material for ourselves. But we're not going to stop doing session. We're going to play session every day, but we're going to play some for ourselves. So start recording songs, I remember.
But hold on. Even before we start, produce ourselves, we used to produce other people and not knowing that we were producing. Because when we in the studio, we arrange a song for them and say, yes, this cut song good, that song good, and sing this song instead of that one, and we used to arrange and produce and not knowing that we were producing for the whosoever said him is producer at the time. Because the man who said him is producer around at the back, him just stand up doing nothing, probably pull two card and them thing. Then we say, ready now, and them say, all right, tell the engineer, take it. And then them say, oh, that sound Robbie, or oh, that sound Sly. We have to come on and listen to it, and then, no, all right, go on again. So we were producing for a long time. And then as Sly said, when we get really serious now, like sometimes we play a singer, you play a rhythm for him, and a guy say, don't like that rhythm there. We say, no man, the rhythm they're perfect. No, I don't like that. We say, all right, we take that for ourselves. So we start the one where we play and people reject, we start recording them for ourselves. And the rejection always wicked. Go on again by a year turn.
Yeah, so picking up. So, we start to do our own stuff. And I remember, the singers in Jamaica would want to sing for us because we were two little musicians, So I remember Robbie calling up Greg because Robbie and Greg were good friends. And I asked him to come on, and Greg came in and he sang 6 songs a day. And he came the next day to voice, and he got to the studio before us. And we voiced it, and one of the songs that came out in the session was our first #1 record in Jamaica. It's called Smooth Forward. And up to this day, Greg and us are good friends, and if we're doing a stage show in Jamaica, nobody can go on that stage before him. He wants to open the concert and then goes home. And we start owning our stuff, and then Chris Blackwell from Island Record heard what we were doing, and we're just trying to make music for the people because we're following the footsteps of people like Cox or Berry Garden. And he took us up and wanted to work with us, and we started working with him and producing Black Uhuru, and he come out and all these people. But we had in mind was to form a young Motown for ourselves in Jamaica. It's not still too far, we're still aiming at that still,
Tell me about your work with Black Uhuru.
Well, Michael Rose, the lead singer of Black Uhuru, and I grew up together. His brother and I were good friends, and he used to sing in a band as a singer, but before then, he was a DJ, Michael Rose. So I was trying to help his brother get into the production business, but his brother died in a car accident. So Michael came to check me and said his brother got killed in a car accident. So I said, wow. So I said to Michael, okay, we're done by Channel 1 every day, you can come and check me. So he came by and checked me, and we did a talking, and then he left and he came back and said, this is some people like Ducky and Puma, and he has a group called Black Uhuru wants a record, and we started trying out some recording, like doing a version of No, 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 and a Wheeler song called Let Him Go, and Sun is Shining. And then I said to him, so well, we can start cutting original songs because everyone liked the sound. And I think the first song we recorded was Guess Who's Coming Today, that Shiny Girl. We did 6 songs that day, Plastic Smile, and the first one that came out from the lot was General Penitentiary. But before it came out, we didn't have any money to release these records. So we cut them on dubplate and gave to the great U-Roy with a sound system called, I don't remember the name of the sound system, but yeah, that sound system which was the #1 sound system. I said, okay, U-Roy, we can give you these 4 records to play. And he played them for 1 year before anyone was released. So when anyone is going to the dance, they will go to U-Roy because no one has this record but him, and he couldn't play this record before 1 o'clock. So people start going to the dance play because U-Roy is going to play some Black Uhuru no one has. So I think this is where our label got started and really come into play.
Which one should we play, Shine I Go or General Penitentiary?
Shine I is bad.
All right, let's go.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's definitely better.
That was a stage version.
Stage version of Shine Eye.
Recording different.
Recording it, as Robbie says, very different. Because recording was done like 1976, so you have to update it. You know, everything is being updated, so you have to.
Keith Richards was the one playing it. Playing the guitar. Yeah.
He's playing guitar on it. Yeah. Wow.
So how did you first hook up with them?
Robbie.
Mick Jagger and Keith Richards came to Jamaica at a Peace concert that was held there, and they saw us playing with Peter Tosh, and they wanted was to sign a reggae act. So when they saw Peter, they said they were interested in him, and Peter, myself, and Herbie Miller, when they invited us to New York to discuss contract, and we went in there and talk, and it was a done deal. You know, and we went on tour with them. What year that was, Sly? Some girls tour.
70, went 78.
Yeah, and you know, me and Keith, like tight, you know, like Sly and Robbie, and the drummer Charlie Watt, he must like tight, like Sly and Robbie, so, you know, like Keith used to come to Jamaica, and I think he has a house in Jamaica now, but like he used to be at my house regular, you know, him and Mick, and the day we were doing this song, he came by the studio and heard us recording and said, "Well, I have to play." I said, "Yeah, man." And he just went in the car trunk, pull out his guitar and come in, and I think we did 2 tracks that day.
Yeah, we did Dirty Harry.
Yeah, and he played guitar in it. That was it.
What was touring with the Rolling Stones like?
Something you never experienced before, totally different, you know? At least that time. There used to be like about probably 5, 6, or 8 band play, you know, if so much. But when Rolling Stone like come enter the compound, all bands had to go to their dressing room. Only we alone used to be able to walk around because they have some big, strong security say, "Stones are coming, get here ready." You know? So like, they used to say, oh, the Rastas, they're okay, they're good. You know? As like Mick and Keith and Charlie come, they say, "Where is Sly? Where's Robbie?" And they just head to our dressing room before going to their dressing room, you know? We had them card and joke and everything.
And your musical collaboration went on for quite a while with Mick Jagger, right?
Yeah, man. We produced an album with Peter Tosh, and we said, "Mick, come sing a song with Peter," and he did a Walk and Don't Look Back. You know, and when we were touring, we used to like sneak in to our concert and do that song with Peter too. We went them tight like that, you know. Even when we were doing our album that won Grammy, named Friends, you know, we asked Keith to play guitar on it, and he did. We did "I Can't Get No Satisfaction," and Ian Ron would play guitar on it for Mick. Well, Mick was busy, couldn't get to sing it. I wanted Mick was to sing it too. You know? That would be good, getting a Rolling Stone and a thing.
The one thing that's definitely worth talking about is that despite you being so busy on the international music industry scene and doing all the stuff with the Stones and all around the world, you always made time to release stuff in Jamaica, which is its own unique recording industry as well. And that's remarkable that you managed to balance both things throughout all those years. How did you manage to do that?
Well, they used to say Sly and Robbie must take drugs because the way we do it. But what we used to do is like, in the studio from like say basically 10 in the morning so till whatever time we cut off, but we make sure try to be there by 10. And a lot of time like we'd rehearse like in the evening like about 7, 8 o'clock. Give yourself enough time in the studio. And when we leave and come from tour, most of the time we end up leaving from the studio. And when we tour and finish tour, when you reach home that night, you sleep, the next morning we're in the studio, so we just keep it going, you know? Now we kind of slow down a little bit. We plan it more better now. So what we do is like record a lot of songs and check back the tape now and then and say, that song would work on that. So there's always music there to work on. Even like we come out now, we know that there is thing there. We can call ahead and say, well, tell our engineer, say, set up that first, we're coming in. Much easier now than then.
But your dedication at that time to music in Jamaica is best represented by starting Taxi Records.
Yeah.
Which can't have been an easy thing to do with everything else you had going on. Why did you decide to start Taxi Records?
Well, I had a label named Barbells at the time, putting out record, and Sly had Taxi label. But where we stick with Taxi now, Sly used to come through there in a taxi with a little short driver, we call him Shorty. And we used to get a lot of fun from Sly and the taxi with that taxi driver. Like they drive up to all a stoplight and Sly said, blood class Shorty, who for wheel that? Sly and my own, you know, they would have to, while stopping the wheel, fly off and run, go and leave them. But if we run down the wheel and catch it, we used to get like ton load of fun. So as soon as Sly said, boy, I remember a label when we used to work named Taxi, we said, yeah, Taxi, you know? So we stick with Taxi because we know it's a fun thing, you know? Shorty.
I remember one day we were going to do Sunsplash, I think it was Black Uhuru, so Shorty had his car, so shout out to myself and a friend of my daughter. Little girl probably around herself going to Montego Bay and run out of water the car for come on. And push, man, and push, and we just jump in, man. Moby, you know, like fun, you know? I went to Sunsplash for farm and full up with water, after to stop so many times, put water in the radiator and jump in back and start up, man, Kingston bound. And when they come in with us, laugh and say, yeah, man, tomorrow, and, you know, fun and just go back to the studio. But we used to spend, like, days in the studio. I mean, more time spent in the studio more than at home. Yeah.
So that's where the name Taxi comes from?
Yeah, and I used to take him at night time, like, when I finished playing a tit for tat. He used to be out there waiting on me, and he'd take me to the studio at daytime and everything, you know, so. Never have a car, so I had to take the taxi, so. We work out a little thing and buy a little car, and so he owned the taxi, I bought it for him, so. I said, just drive me to the studio and do the thing you want to do, so. And this way the whole taxi thing go about there.
So what kind of artists did you release over the years on Taxi Records? Can you mention some of the artists that you've put out on that label?
The artists that we put out on Taxi were like Greg Riser, Black Uhuru, Jimmy Riley, Aini Kamonzi, Tamlins, Juna Delgado, Dennis Brown, Greg Isaacs, a guy who used to sing in the Child Lights. And the band itself, Taxi Gang Instrumental with Nambo, Dean Fraser, Robbie Lynn, and all these people. Yeah.
And how did you get the money together to start an independent record label? That's not easy.
We used to, when we go on tour with Peter and the Rolling Stone, what we used to do then, we were getting like $100 a week US for pay. Our lunch money would be $240, so we had to spend up $240 for lunch money, but they pay is $100. So
they paid you $100 for the week,
yeah,
but gave you $240 for lunch.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
so what me and Robbie do now, I work out a plan and I say, wow, to go back home with some money. So I had this friend called Gary, so we used to say, Gary, get this, you know, the plastic garbage bag and send him to go into after breakfast and pick up all the boiled eggs and bread and put them in the bag and sling it over his shoulder, head for the bus. And when we play Stones, we take like the jerk chicken and put it in the bag and we use that as our food and the juices. So we saved the money. So the money is where we took back to Jamaica and buy tape. And I remember I bought a pair of syndromes. It had cost like $500 and we bought the syndrome and bought the tape and we took it back to Jamaica. And out of that money we booked a Channel 1 studio for a week. And we just started recording and out of that song came Baltimore and all this song. Some Black Uhuru stuff came from it and things like that. And we did this Black Uhuru album from it called Sense Mila, which Chris Black Uhuru and then he signed them from that album. So Eh?
Remember the first thing with Black Uhuru was the 6-1 and all.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
got
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
showcase.
Yeah, and then before we did a showcase with Black Uhuru, the same set of song we gave to Euro that came out first.
And we couldn't put it out for about a year. Everything was on tape. We never have enough money for release it.
Yeah.
You know that.
So it would be fair to say that Taxi was founded on lunch money.
Yeah. Garbage bag money, yeah. Lunch money, yeah. Lunch money, yeah.
That's cool.
No garbage bag sound better.
Garbage bag, some more rules, you know? Garbage bag money, yeah.
So talking of Chris Blackwell, how did you first meet Chris? And
Well, I think what happened, I think when I get to meet Chris the first time, is what somebody was saying that, and Levi was saying that his boss wanted to meet us. I said, boss, who's the boss? I'm saying, not going to tell me that. So one night I went by the Hilton Hotel and there was some function there. And I said, come here, I wanted to meet my boss. You want to meet for a long time. I went to him and said, oh, Chris Blackwell. I said, oh, wicked. And that's how I got to meet him. And, we start, I think, what happened from there, Robbie?
Yeah, well, first time I meet Chris Blackwell was a movie star named Esther Anderson. She come for me and say, there's this command named Chris Blackwell who I meet me. I said, who's Chris Blackwell? And she said, Bob Marley, boss at the time. That time we play Concrete Jungle, and he wanted to know who was the man who played bass on it. So just meet him and, yes, so you play bass? I say, yeah, man, nice. That was it. But then, we had more than a year now. After years go by, I think Denny's Mills. Chris no of Sly Robbie, no, and probably Virgin, the time that thing with Sly, and him look vexed, him want Sly and Robbie. Well, I'm glad they were going to get Sly, album with Sly, so for Roper scene, I think what him do is let us play the Grace Jones. That was his way of getting us into his camp, and I was as Compass Point All-Star. Then he signed Sly Robbie. And Denny's Mills was the one who made him sign Black Uhuru. That year, I can't remember what year Sly got on them.
The year when he signed Black Uhuru was like 1980. Yeah. He came to Jamaica, and Robbie House signed a contract. And the rest after that is history. And then when he asked us to do the Grace Jones session, he called us up to his New York apartment, and he played some Grace Jones stuff for us and gave us some album, which up to this day we haven't even listened to those albums yet. So he called a session and said we're going to Nassau to record. So when we got to Nassau, Robbie was saying what we're going to do, and we keep asking, nobody knew. So Chris said we was going to make some music. So they were thinking of rehearsing first and then going to the studio. I remember Robert Clay said, no man. Set up the studio and we could go inside, man, and rehearse in the studio and record anything we rehearse. So everybody said, yeah, man, that's cool. So I went in. The engineer and co-producer was Alex Atkin. Took 1 day for drums, 1 day for bass, 1 day for guitar, and really set then. I remember when they say radio, I remember the first tune that was recorded was a tune called Warm Literate. And when I heard the playback, I said, wow, it's great. And then the second one, which I think is one of my favorite records, is called Private Life with Grace Jones.
And there's a serious dub version of that as well.
Yeah.
Can I play that?
Yeah.
Okay. When was this recorded?
Recorded in 1980, and that's all. Thank you very much.
Wow. So that was a pretty amazing period, the Compass Point All-Stars period.
Yeah. It was Robbie, myself, Mikey Chung, Sticky Percussion, Tyrone Downey used to play for the Whalers, and there was Wally Badarou from France and Barry Reynolds from England. So it was like a cultural experience taking all these and put together. Yeah.
And where was the Compass Point studio?
In Nassau, Bahamas, Caribbean. So we just go there, and all of these songs that was played with Grace, just one take. There's no two take of nothing. Just bump over, next.
One take for everything?
In a 2 weeks period, I think we did like 30 tracks.
Well, yeah. No exceptions, no.
They run out of songs. So that's why it took so long. They had to wait for them to be Songs were coming from everywhere. There was faxing like lyrics to words for Grace from all over the world, you know.
So would you basically put down the rhythm track and then Grace would voice it, or would you write it together?
Sometimes she's inside the studio with us, you know.
Yeah, she's still on right on my right side, you know. She wouldn't leave.
Yeah, she sit on Robbie's shoulder, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, as I said, the songs weren't coming in fast enough. Usually in a day, like, laying like 30 or 40 tracks is like nothing. You know, to put on the basic tracks.
I think the only song she was in the studio doing early on Pull Up to the Bumper, Nibble to the Buckle, because those songs were, we started to write those songs for her.
Say that again.
Pull Up to the Buckle.
Pull Up to the Bumper.
And Nibble to the Buckle. She was inside the studio because we had to lay the rhythm down first. And then we started the melody on so she could get it from there, because we had written took those songs to them, and they said, okay, let's record it.
It sounds to me, from the way you're describing it, like the real producers on those records were you.
No, not really. I mean, we helped out in a lot, obviously, but like was Chris Blackwell and Ada Stacking were like the real producer, but they would make us experiment, do anything we want to do. And there's no tension like on a recording. Just one cut.
Producers.
Once a group.
Silent
Well, I was obviously silent producer. One cut and it was done, you know.
So Pull Up to the Bumper was done in one take.
Everything was one take. There's no two take of nothing.
Shall we?
Because once we tried two take,
First one,
and it was a tune called Crying Out Laugh Laser, and I had to go for the first one. It never worked. So.
I know you wanted me to play that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Can you introduce this?
Well, this song is called Pull Up to the Bumper. First original song was called Peanut Butter, but they, well. With Gwen Gutcher, right? Yeah, she went and cut it back later. So Grace changed the lyric idea for it, and it came out actually as an instrumental. Okay. Yeah, that's the instrumental version. Yeah, we call it Peanut Butter.
That's
yeah.
the one there, right?
Yeah, that's us there. It's Grace.
Anyway, let's play the vinyl.
Yeah.
So how long before was this done?
It was on tape for a year before it came out.
So that was put down a year before the song was done?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happened, it came out as an instrumental, and Juna Tucker was supposed to sing the Peanut Butter song, but we left to Jamaica. So when we came back up to do the next Grace album, she was crying and said she wanted back her rhythm. That was that rhythm.
Wow.
She said needed back because she heard it playing somewhere, and she said she wanted her rhythm, And they brought up this girl named Dana, Mano, and they co-wrote the lyrics back around the rhythm, so.
Because the first time I bought that rhythm, it was on the other side to the Genius of Love break.
Yeah.
And you're playing on that as well, right?
Genius of Love, no, but we were in Nassau when all this thing was happening, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, let's check this out.
Thank you.
So I was lucky enough to actually interview Wally Badaru at the Rebel Music Academy in Melbourne, and he told us some amazing stories about that era, including the time that you worked with James Brown. I mean, he kind of skimmed around it and suggested what the vibe was, but maybe you could tell us what that was like.
But it was nice, and James Brown was a typical self, you know, a soul brother and things like that. And I think Al Sharpton was his hairdresser at the time when he came to. I would make sure that, like, in Nassau, the studio would be over here, right? And there's the road and there's like the ocean. And James standing over there, and Al Sharpton had to do up his hair before he get to the studio. Really, like, when he comes to the studio, it's like he's going to perform, you know, on stage. And James would come, you know, and he called Mikey, what called Mikey? Montego, you know, and I think we played like 2 songs to him, but it was good, and we learned a lot, you know, from the great James Brown, because we look up to him so much, you know, as a godfather, so.
But what's the working process like? Because he's so regimented. I can imagine you're too individual for him.
He was cool. But we wrote a song for him, and we wanted him to sing it, and he was saying Robbie and myself should sing the song, and he's just screaming, "Ow!" And I said, "No, James, no, we want you to sing the song." And he insists that, we sing the song, and he is going to say. So we had laid the rhythm track, but his voice was on it. But I saw a record. I was at Compass, the London office of Idol Record, and I saw a record that we had played for him on the flip side of one of the songs. So I think Chris Blackwell gave him the multi-track tape, and he put it out. Yeah.
And so what were some of the other artists that passed through that studio at the time you were there?
Like Iron Maiden were there. Some more rock and roll people. And then that's where we did Mick Jagger's solo album, Compass Point. Yeah.
And at that time, how much influence was the kind of early 80s disco sound and the New York thing having on reggae?
Well, we used to listen to, as musicians, we used to do a lot of the disco stuff because that's what was happening, but I used to listen to a lot of the Philadelphia stuff because I think that's where the disco came through early on the drum. So I always used to listen a lot to that. But what we do is transform anything we hear to reggae and try to recreate that around it and put it to reggae. Buckingham Palace, Peter Tosh, come up like a disco. But that's a pattern that Robbie and myself had played for a long time. We did it on Sun is Shining for Black Uhuru, and we did it on a song, on a soul album they call Rasta Fiesta. And we played that pattern. We were in the studio jamming, and Robbie said, play that beat again, and we laid the drum and bass track down, and Peter was there with the guitar full, and then he came up with the lyrics of Buckingham Palace.
And back in Jamaica, as we're getting into heading in towards the mid-80s, things were starting to go a little bit digital. And
yeah.
And can you explain, you were one of the first people to use the sim drums, right? Can you explain to everyone what that is?
Well, I heard of these syndrome that was coming out. There had been a drum on recording.
Simmons drum kit, right?
I think it was a syndrome first.
Syndrome, okay.
So we wanted us to get with the sound, upgrading and stuff, two like a Caribbean musician, I want to. So we bought this thing and took home, and then we started experiment. But then again, I see an advertising came up for Simmons. So I had ordered the Simmons, a red, green, and gold Simmons, and I canceled it because I didn't know what I was buying. And I think Boy George and Culture Club bought it. And someone told me they had the drum set he had ordered. I said, really? I said, oh, wow, I've got to get it. So I went and ordered another Simmons. When we were going to cut Black Uhuru Anthem album, I went into New York and bought the Simmons, and they sent it down to Nassau. I think the first time I played it on a record was, there's a song with the Rolling Stones on an album called Too Much Blood. I did the snare from the Simmons. It's the first time I mixed some with the drum. He said, come and overdub that thing, and I went and overdubbed it for him. And then I start, looking at electronics, I noticed it's going to be the age of electronics. I start getting into it and use the Simmons on Anthem album, and using a couple of Jamaican records for a while. And a lot of people, even now in Jamaica, ask me for the Simmons. They want to hear the record again. I said, oh, really? I say, yeah. So I acquired a DD20 rolling kit, which I'm going to start using back in the studio just to create some sound. And sometimes, people just want to hear fresh things in there, and then for a while, you cool it off, go back to the real acoustic stuff. So, but electronic is good, and the whole digital world is cool too, because they say let's go forward, so this is forward. So, but the analog stuff is also good, But we are open to anything.
But then you also started incorporating MPC into your studio work.
Yeah,
right?
I bought a drum machine. I the first person in Jamaica who had an 8-wood machine was Bubble, a keyboard player, and I borrowed his to program and played on a Black Uhuru song called Somebody's Watching You, a cover of Sly and the Family Stone, and then I got one for myself. And I always have drum machine and things, but most of the drummers in Jamaica were scared of drum machine. I said, why? So I started programming and everything, and I bought MPC, I bought the DMX, I bought the SP1200, I have now the 500, I bought all the machines. So it has been as a drummer, I just want to make beats, and it's cool to just sit and program something that you're feeling. But most of the drummers in Jamaica don't program. I think out of all the drummers that have been recording drummers in Jamaica, I'm the only one to program drum machine, nobody else. But they're great drummers. But I figure they think they don't need a drum machine, which I think they don't really need it. But one of the time they were out of work because nobody would ask them to program, And then it's not a cheaper way of recording, but it's another way of recording. So I wanted us to get into it also.
What was the actual turning point where dancehall became a lot more digital?
I think dancehall started becoming digital in the 80s, late 80s. King Jammy stopped putting out some stuff. He had an 8-track studio.
Sling Tang rhythm.
Yeah, not before Slington Rhythm. Like Clevie and Steele were doing some stuff for him, like the drum machine. But I had a drum machine, but I couldn't use it. Nobody wanted me to use that session and say, you're crazy. Nobody wanted to play live. So I said, okay. And then when we did a song called Urban Hustling with Sugar Minot for ourselves, nobody believed it. So I said to Willie Lindo, the drum machine can play reggae. He said, no, man, come on, Sly. I said, yeah. So he said, okay, we're going to book a session. So him and then Barry Salmon. I know a lot of people know Barry Salmon, right? I don't know. So it took me to the studio, and I was there alone. So I laid 7 beats down for them, and I left and went on tour. So I heard this song with Barry Salmon playing. So when I got back to Jamaica, I said to Willie, this Barry Salmon tune is bad, man. Who did the drum on it? He started laughing. I said, what are you laughing for? That's one of the beats he left for us. Really? So it was one of Barry's biggest hits, you know. So I said, wow. I said, I told her the drum machine could work. So
And it was one of yours on the...
Yeah, so a lot of producers started going for the drum machine because the sound was easier to get on tape, and they feel more safe with it. But because acoustic drum was harder to mic up and everything like that, you know. But we're back and forth with both things now in Jamaica.
Well, you used it quite a lot on the Shakademus and Pliers stuff.
I used the MPC 60, yeah, and the 3000 on the Shakademus stuff. Because when the DJ came into play, they were more like into the kind of digital stuff. Like Murder She Wrote was like the MPC 60.
Murder She Wrote was made on MPC 60.
Yeah.
Can we check that out?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to introduce this one?
This one is called Murder She Wrote. It was done originally as an instrumental record. And what we did was just run the guitar track right through that for 3 minutes. And Shaka been asking me all the time, say, when are you and Sly Robbie going to put me on a record? So I called him and said, the rhythm is here, come for it. And he came. I think they voiced the record like in 10 minutes. And they were asking me, is it okay? I said, everything is fine. And they went away, and we mixed the song. You know, someone said there was a distortion somewhere, and the last part of the vocal, I said, boy, this not mixed again. It doesn't know, it did work, I don't work. And the rest is history. It was, you know.
From the same kind of time, you said you were put on the same day.
After they sing Murder She Wrote, Pliers said, I know Bam Bam can fit on the rhythm. I said, sing it. We pushed the red light button, and he just sang it one time and he left. I said, that's it. So we just put on the record.
Same day.
Same day, same time. Recording was done on all. Okay, thank you very much. This recording was, I don't know if anyone here is familiar with it, the Akai 12-track recording. You know that they made that board that used a cassette. This was done on that machine. It had 12-track only, so that's where it came from.
And what kind of technology are you using now?
Well, most people in Jamaica are into like the New Endo and the Pro Tools stuff down there, you know. But with Pro Tool and doing all these things, that's what you put in. You still have to deliver a good groove to get the record being an hit record. A lot of people depended on Pro Tool of doing it to make it for them, but I think today a hit record can be made on a cassette. Just like that, you know. Yeah, because most of these Studio One songs and the song of the Scatterlights were done on one track.
Wow.
And it's great sounding today, so I think a record can be made on a cassette right now and be a hit record.
And one thing I wanted to talk to you about as a drummer is, I mean, obviously as a duo, you've been responsible for shaping the landscape of Jamaican music pretty much over the last 20 or 30 years. But it's like, as a drummer, you were responsible for pretty much never resting with what was popular and always pushing for a new rhythm. And, you know, with the rockers rhythm, pretty much established a whole new beat that kind of almost rejuvenated a lot of singers' careers.
Yeah.
When did that come about?
Okay, like when I was like 15 years old, Ansel Collins took me to the studio and I played on a song called Night Doctor. And then I heard a song called Moonlight Lover. I don't know who was the drummer on it, but they were playing this kind of cymbal thing called like a fly. It wasn't a fly cymbal. And I said, wow. So in the later that year, Ansel asked me to play the next record, which became double barrel. So I played the same hi-hat and the double barrel, which Bonelli gave it a name and called it the fly cymbal, right? And the fly cymbal took off in Jamaica, but I played it on a record after double barrel by Al Brown called Here I'm Baby, and I played on a record called Delroy Wilson called It's a Shame.
Do you want to play the Night Doctor track or the
Yeah, you could play
double barrel?
you could play the Night Doctor. It's a little piece of it.
So what kind of drumming is this?
This is like that's an acoustic drum kit. This was done by Federal Studios. Yeah. This was done when I was 15 years old.
15 years old.
That's the first record I played on.
The first ever one.
Yeah, Anson Collins took me to this studio, and
what about double barrel?
that was the second record. When I was 16, I played on that one.
Wow.
And this was a million sellers, went to #1 in England. Thank you very much.
So that was when you were 16?
Yeah. Ansel Collins again. Because when I was young playing, he used to play in a band. I couldn't play the flow show, so he would come and take a drum. He plays a little drum too. And he would play the flow show for me, and I give him back the drum, then I play for the dancing party people, you know.
And what about now? Is there anyone under you that's studying or that you've influenced massively?
Huh?
Is there anyone that you're kind of teaching now in 2008?
No, there's no one. Because there was a guy by the name of Barnabas who used to be around us at Channel 1 studio. He could play. He used to sit there when I was playing, so he could. But a lot of people would play things that I play, but there's nobody would come to you and really ask you anything. Some, the drummers come to me and I would tell them it is done to hide, But I just work with the formula for myself. I don't think I'm probably an all right drummer. I don't think I'm a great drummer. I just use the formula. And I just work it out that I think, I like to see people dance. I try and record rhythms, and I listen to a lot of African stuff. So I figure more or less like when I was getting into the whole dub things, I said there must be a way that people could just. I was watching a film, and I saw like some people singing, and they were just beating shakers and drum, and people dancing. And said there must be a way we could get people just dance the reggae, the drums and reggae, drum and bass. So Robbie and myself started working on it, playing patterns and changing stuff. And it actually started working that, you could have the drum and bass just playing all the way through without anything.
I read a story about when Bob Marley came back in '77 to work with Lee Perry, and he wanted a steppers beat.
Oh, yeah. I remember I saw him the night, and Lee Perry said if I could do a session with Bob. I say, yeah, man, sure. And I went over to Lee Perry's studio called the Black Ark, and Bob was there, and Lee Perry said to me, say, I want some one drop. I said, no problem. But Bob looked at me and said, I don't want a one drop. It's like, I want this straight four. You're kind of the straight four. I said, okay, Bob, anything. So Bob started singing, and I started playing the straight four. Lee Perry never said anything, and Bob said, yeah, man, that man sing pon and on. And I just did that for him. But we played 3 songs. I don't remember the name of the songs. I don't know if they came out. I don't know.
But Lee Perry was like.
But there's one song I played on, like, for Bob, a Punky Reggae Party, the recorded version, because it was done in England. But Lee Perry was saying that he just wanted a different groove on it. But everybody played like a one-drop style. So when I went into the studio today, he wasn't there, but I just walked in the studio and Flick said, oh, Lee Perry looking for me. I said, really? So I said, put up the tape. And he put up the song, and I said, okay, that's it one way. So I started playing straight. So going to record, and I started playing, and it was done like in one take, 7-minute song. I said, wow, that's it. And Flick said, yeah. And it turned out to be a Punky Reggae Party. I think Bob had revoiced it after I put the drum pattern down. He said, I want to voice it over. And I went in and voiced it over. And that was one. And Robbie played on Concrete Jungle. Yeah.
When Robbie comes back, maybe you can do a little demo of the difference. But I mean, for those people in the room that aren't familiar with, you're saying one drop rockers, they're very particular types of patterns. Can you explain what the difference is?
Okay. Well, I'd have to play it on the drum and explain to him. Peter, show Robert for you now.
Yeah. So there's basically, because one drop was the prevalent thing for so many years.
On this thing I was playing with the Black Uhuru, that's a one drop, but the symbol is playing like a fly, that's what they would call a fly symbol.
And the flying symbol is what? It's on the off
Yeah, I think it really became international when it was done in I remember the Blue Note song, Love I Lost. But I think it was first done in reggae before that song. Yeah.
And then the Rockers is also known as the Steppers, is the
Yeah,
4-beat, right?
yeah, I can do that for you when Robbie comes back.
And then kind of later on in the 80s, it kind of slowed down a
Yeah,
minute.
it went back to something we had sort of created, like we were playing like R&B style drum inside of reggae, just to give it a different, and some people call it raga, some people call it a lot of different names. Like when you listen to people, Love and Devotion, or some of those Dennis Brown tunes, we were playing like, I remember even with Black Uhuru, we were playing like kind of R&B kind of stuff, subtle. And Rob would play the bass line on top, and then other musicians would play reggae and some guitar straight.
Is there anyone in Jamaica that you haven't worked with? That you would like to?
Yeah, there's some young new artists coming up, and they have come to us and they say they want to be on Taxi, and we give them a chance to be on Taxi label and everything. But yeah, a lot of new ones is coming up. Yeah.
And are there any artists in particular that are out now, whether they're well known or unknown in the dancehall world, that we should be checking out?
Repeat again?
Is there any artists around now, whether they're very well known or whether they're unknown, that we should be looking for in dancehall?
There's a singer down there called Luton Fire. He's good, and there's Liba, the Tuss daughter, and there's Shireen Anderson that we're working with now, and a bunch of young artists coming up. Some of them just getting into it, so I'm looking forward for them to come up.
Can you give us a little demo?
Right, we'll like a one drop line and then we'll go to the flyers and the step up. All right.
So the basic one drop, the
basic
classic
one drop.
reggae one
Yeah,
drop,
yeah.
what's that?
Yeah.
There's a from one drop, one play by. Go and play. There's a next farm. I can run next one like this. Have many farmer one job.
Yeah, so what's the flying symbols? So when it all changed, this is you now, the steppers. There's a couple of things that you're well known. What's the slide tackle?
I think it's this. I think, then again, Bonelli came up with those names. He's great at names, you know.
There's one, I heard the stutter roll, that's the military one, right?
Yeah. But Bonelli is great at names, right, Baya? He just name things. And then in the 80s, we had switched it and we started playing like, we don't want to play Love and Devotion? Yeah, we're going to play Love and Devotion. That's right. Yeah, and we just used to create something like a Robbie, and we're going to play probably 2 songs for which I don't know what Robbie was doing at that thing, but it was massive, man. A tune called Africa with Black Uhuru, which I think is the wickedest bass line. All right. we just, go on and try and make music. Robbie myself is say we just want to make music for the people. And when we go inside the studio, we just want to see that red light. And from the red light, I was kind of anything comes, like anything goes,
Yeah, and there's definitely some of the most famous rhythms about that you're probably responsible for. People might not already twig that it's you. Are there a few of those that you could do? Like the really well-known ones?
Like, we're going to play Taxi and sure, all right, make the same R&B.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So time for some questions from...
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you guys again for coming out. My question is kind of twofold. One, how much time do you guys spend on the road? Because I know you obviously spend a lot of time in the studio. And two, are there any places that you've played where you've been kind of surprised by the response? Let's say if there's a country you wouldn't expect to be really big into reggae, and you got there and there's like, tens of thousands of people there. Because I kind of see it rhythm-wise as a pretty universal music language if you're into rhythm. Just like we were out last night and there was a huge, it was a nice sized crowd. So.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were on tour at Black Uhuru, we were playing at a place in Luxembourg. It was the first time reggae was going there, and I think the concert was, it's probably 200 people came or 100 people came, but I think the band sounded so good that everybody stood up and started dancing, and it felt like there was 10,000 people there, right? And there's another concert to do in Germany called Rock Palace. I think one of the first concerts we did with Black Uhuru, and we went on stage at 2 o'clock in the morning, and remember, there was a band going on called Mink the Villain, and he said to us, you know, we're going to set the pace for you guys, and Robbie and myself said, wow. So when we went on stage, we just did what we had to do, and when we saw there's 15,000 people really jumping up, we were amazed that when we finished the hour that we had on stage, the producer for the concert, it was going all the way up, said, just let them play, and we played 20 more minutes extra live on television and radio. We couldn't believe it, so that really surprised us. We couldn't believe it, because we came off and they said, give them another 20 minutes. I went and I played that Rock Palace in somewhere in Germany.
Well, the one for me was, I think we were in Japan doing a jazz festival. And Herbie Hancock, and Herbie Hancock was the headline for it. And I remember every night we played, it was like a riot. Like when 30,000 people just started rioting. Like, I think the government wanted was to ban us at the time. Because the people them start like take off the police them hat and run around with it, and they said, well, Black Uhuru and Sly Robbie caused a riot in Japan, and this has never happened before. So they nearly banned us, you know, so we had to ask the people, yo, please, yeah. So that one was amazing, because that was the first the second time we're going to Japan, first playing reggae music and seeing the response. Wicked. And I think the next time again was first time with Peter Tosh in Italy. Like every night, the police had to be firing gunshot and tear gas. I said the people even like a big stadium, and they bore a big hole in it just to come in to see the concert free. And like that was like about 4 weeks every night gunshot. Yeah, yeah, them 2 times for me, wicked.
Sweet.
Any more questions?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kunal from Sweden, and thanks again. Just a question, I find it really impressive that you as a duo like stick together for so long, and obviously you've got a lot of harmony between you. But like, what's the secret to that? Because I think, I mean, in life generally, and in the music business especially, you see a lot of people that like go through success and ups and downs, and they sort of just split. And I mean, do you guys ever get into fights, like, or just is it just good times all the time?
Well, I tell you what, just like anything in life, you have a whole heap of obstacles. Just or you will allow forget in your way, or how much information you want to feed from people. Cause you have like, what me don't respect Sly, and Sly respect me. You know that, right? In personal life, I have nothing to do with that. He has nothing to do with my personal life either. You always have a little man around the corner come, hey, boss, you know, you're the big man. That is when somebody looking something. So how much information you want to take from that person there? You are the man, you know? If you want to take that and you make your head get big, you know, that will start mess up things. You have the women, them too. Wives, them love going on the make like, why are you do all the work? Him not do none. You know, them don't know what you do because them not there. You see, you know? Because you have... I'm not talking generally with Sly Robbie. People, period. That's how it goes. So all you have to do, baby, just school, wash dish, cook food, and go sleep. Wait till I come home, right? And just go on do your thing. Because no one knows, we know what kind of work we do. And that's true, you know? As I said, not Sly Robbie, any man like that will want to stay along together. Respect one another views. Try this, try that, some go through, some don't. But you know, we're not getting away personal life, none at all. Music shall live forever before us, going to be after us. And we want to make sure we say it right during our period, so that's what we work on, you know? And for that, we stay together the next 200 years.
Hello. I was just wondering, after all the records you have released and all the people you have made music with, what is there still left to reach, and what makes you go onto stage with the same excitement that I know you had yesterday and everything? So, just
Well, you see, when you live and breathe music, that's what happens, you know? And, you know, just to know that you have people come out to see you and make sure they are happy. So that give it, like, the energy, you know, to, like, do it. And, like, every night we play different. If you come and see us tonight play, you're going to get it different from last night. We always creating new things on stage, even though the same old stuff, but we had new spice to it every night. You know, like yesterday we flew in from Jamaica, London, from London to here, and just go straight on stage. So you saw us last night tired. So probably tonight we're not so tired, we might play different.
Oh yeah, and has there been an hour in your life where you haven't played the bass guitar? Because it seems like it's just like the oxygen you're breathing. You just have to play all the time.
Yeah, like once I see it, I will play it, you know. But sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I don't play it because I'm afraid I might roll over. I might roll over and it break and I'll have to cry.
Thanks.
And another reason why we're on the stage, like, you know, we're playing all of us grew up together, like Nambo, Peter, Bubble, but so like, when I see come like a family, so we always go with that spirit, you know, we always think in one direction just to perform. And, you know, so that's why we're on stage. Even if we're tired and we're gone, nobody knows we're feeling tired. Because once you hit that stage, it's all over, you know.
I have another question, like, at the end of the show yesterday, it's a personal matter, you know, I want to know that. At the end of the show, when people ask you for an encore, you came back and you start to do a vocalized something. Oh, I want to know if that's a Jamaican chant or whatever, because I know this song from a punk rock band, you know, and I'm really curious.
Yeah, well, we were on tour with a group named Pepper, and they were playing it every night. They just play like about 4 round night, and I like it. And I say, hey, Pepper, can you use that song? And they say, yes. And they say, you know, it's from a heavy metal
Pennywise.
band. Yeah, they tell me the name, and I say, yeah, boy, I love it. 'Cause it does sound nice.
Whoa,
You know?
nice.
But we have like different one, cause we can use, but I like that one.
Yeah, I really like that one too. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm asking. I was like, man, did they heard that on the Jamaican stuff? What the hell?
No, well, the music is music, you know. It's like Sly myself, we don't really pick out Jamaican music, Spain music, and that. That music is a universal thing. When you like that song and it wicked, you say, work with
Wow,
it.
thank you.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Russ.
Hi, much respect.
Yeah, man.
Just technical questions. When you're playing live, do you trigger your own delays, or is the engineer doing the delays for you?
The delays is the engineers when it's mixing, like
I
something
see.
he does it. And sometimes I probably play that way,
I see.
and we pick it up, and when he's mixing, he add a delay to it.
Okay.
That guy on your left hand there. He's guilty.
Nice one. That's really
But
unbelievable.
in the early days, like at Channel 1, the drum was on one track, so he applied the delay to the drum. The old kids start delaying, so that's how we got that rhythm. But now everything's individual, so you can actually apply the delay onto each individual
Nice.
instrument. But
you know-
that guy over there,
Guilty.
Respect.
he's a guilty man.
Yes. And you don't play with a click, right? You just play straight, no click on stage.
I just probably on stage no, we don't use
Yeah.
click on stage because when you hear that click, we did it for the first time when we were doing this concert at Alec Campbell, and man, all I could hear in my headphone was click, 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 click. And when Robbie said, boy, we have to go through it, man. When I finished playing those 9 songs, man, it was the happiest day of my life, man, to get that click out. And I did the earpiece, but
Yeah.
I just started using click even on recording session. We never use click because we want the rhythm to breathe. And when click is there, it doesn't breathe. It keep on.
Yeah.
It don't make it feel natural.
Yeah, it doesn't
Nice.
feel natural. Yeah.
Nice.
But if you have to play that click, you know, just have to do it. You know.
And Robbie, what's your favorite bass amplifier to play in their studio?
Right now, I can tell you, Mark Bass. Mark Bass is a wickedest
Bass.
amplifier to me right now.
Oh yeah. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
in back in the day, your early years.
It used to be Ampeg at the early part.
Like the
Then after, just go straight to the board. You know.
Okay.
So you hear like the whatever sound you hear, my natural bass sound. But no, mark bass. Don't forget
bass.
that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
With mark bass, with the thing with mark bass, you can the sound, your sound, you can plug it in the back and tone it exactly how you want it, and that go to the tape. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Gulo from South Africa. I just want to say thank you and great respect for the music and for the great performance, and last night. I just want to ask about, okay, I've seen a lot of videos of Bob Marley. My uncle used to be a great fan of Bob Marley. Like at that time, there seemed to be a great era of vibrations. The atmosphere was like, people were like going crazy about reggae in Jamaica, even worldwide. I just want your say at that time. Where were you at that time? How was it going? Like at the time of Bob Marley before he died?
Well, Bob was signed to Island Record. You have to realize, like, there wasn't a lot of group signed at that time. So Bob was the only one, and probably Jimmy Cliff that was touring, but there was a lot more groups there. And Sly Robbie, we are like the first musician in Jamaica that reached to this level out that we can come as artists. So that's why we were there, but you would not see us at that time. Like I used to have even Burning Spear when no one used to see. There was Meditation, there was Diamonds, Gay Lads, Alton Ellis, who just passed away there, Ken Booth, Delroy Wilson, Slim Smith and Eunice. There were a lot of groups, wicked. I never hear them because, you know, there were no one to like sponsor them, support them like touring. Bob was the first one who got through because Island Record, and my name again by the singer there, where they carried them out first. Johnny Nash was the first one who took them out, you know. So that's why, you know, and more power to them, because if it wasn't for them still build the way, and then Bob and Peter leave Wheelers and went to Colombia, and then we, you know, with them and play a different form of music. When we were playing on stage and Peter run out a song, we had to play a dub. And so people start to know more about Sly Robbie, you know? Yeah.
We've got time for one more, if there is one more. Right here.
Hi, thanks again for the great concert yesterday. I was wondering, when I hear 200,000, 300,000 records you made or produced or something else, I was wondering if you're really happy with everything you made. Do you regret anything, or are they like records that you look back at, no, I would have done something else or something like that?
Well, sometimes making a record is like when a baby born, you know. If the baby come out good, you have to say, you know, give thanks to God and everything. It's not everything you make you're going 100% satisfied with. You know, some might come out deformed, you know, slow speech, you know, hip-shotted, you know, but you have to work with it and say, well, you learn from that and say next time, you know. But you can't really, like you say, cry over spilled milk. And it's not everything you love, people gonna love. You know, sometimes the one you say, I don't like this one, and throw it away. I put it one side, everyone rush to it, you know, so just work with it.
Thanks.
Well, I've got to let you all know that the next lecture is at 5, but right now I want you to join me in saying thank you, Sly and Robbie.
And thank you for coming out, yeah?
Respect. Thanks for coming out.